I was going to talk about the new NFL collective bargaining agreement news, the 17-game season. We'll get to that eventually, but I kind of want to skip forward ahead in the show a little bit and talk about this Kevin Durant, Michael Rapaport beef as the lighting is changing on set. The light is coming through this window, lots of natural light, so I'm sure I'm getting washed out a little bit, and maybe it looks good. I don't know, maybe it looked more like a human being. But there's been this Twitter beef that's been developing between Kevin Durant and Michael Rapaport over the past 24 hours. And originally, when I heard this news, I heard the name Rapaport, and I said, "Oh, that's an ESPN reporter. You know, what did Rapaport say, or what did Kevin Durant say?" And I said, "Wait a minute. Well, Rapaport's an NFL guy, and Kevin Durant's a basketball player, so that's not right." And I look it up, and it's like, oh, okay, it's Michael Rapaport. And apparently Michael Rapaport, I had heard the name before, but I didn't actually know who he was. Apparently he's an actor / comedian / media personality / celebrity crotch writer / whatever. He's a media personality, I guess. And supposedly him and Kevin Durant were friends. Apparently Rapaport is friends with a lot of athletes. And I say friends, I don't think they hang out. Like, I don't think they're inviting each other over for Taco Tuesday and movie night. You know, they're friends in the media sense. They're cordial. They're acquaintances. And apparently, you know, this beef started when Rapaport made a tweet about Kevin Durant, or rather, made a tweet about an interview that Kevin Durant did earlier in December, where he gave a bunch of non-answers and a bunch of short, answers to Charles Barkley's questions. And he got a little bit of some media flack for that. And that's essentially when the beef started, and Rapaport basically said in the tweet, like, "Look, dude, Kevin, if you're not going to do the interview in a correct way, just don't do the interview at all." And Kevin Durant took issue with this, and Michael Rapaport released a flurry of screenshots in which Kevin Durant went absolutely beast mode on Rapaport, saying a bunch of not so nice, naughty words that are unrepeatable on a PG sports podcast, ranging from some racial stuff in terms of skin color, ranging from sexual insults to eventually developing into insults about Rapaport's lawyer team and his wife eventually. And the comments about his wife are supposedly what set Rapaport off. And to be truthful, I'm not taking sides in this. I think both parties are wrong. First of all, Rapaport's a humongous jerk for releasing private screenshots. But on the other hand, I think I'm more upset with Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant is 32. Now, his age isn't the sole reason as to why I'm kind of frustrated with Kevin Durant. But Kevin Durant has never been a good media person. He's never been one to play nice with the media. He's never been somebody to always be willing to talk personally with the media. The media and the Kevin Durant have not gotten along. And that's the way that he's been forever, as long as he's been in the league. And you and I both remember how Kevin Durant had fights with the media. He doesn't like the media. He had a burner Twitter account in which he responded to fans on social media, defending himself, defending his play style and everything. A lot of childish, immature things that Kevin Durant has done in the past to make him receive the label as one of the thinnest skinned players, or one of the thinnest skinned athletes in the world. When you talk about Kevin Durant, once you get past his incredible athleticism, his basketball prowess, how he's one of the best basketball players to ever play the game, what do you think about Kevin Durant? He's a little immature. He's not a good media personality. He's not a good media person. He's a little immature. He's thin-skinned. He cares about what you think. He's self-conscious. And that's what we think about Kevin Durant when we think about his personality. Nobody mentions all his anthropology work. Nobody mentions how much he's donated. Nobody mentions, the relationship that he has with his mother and how awesome that is. Nobody mentions some of the good things about Kevin Durant. A lot of it is, Katie's kind of a drama queen. Katie is very insensitive. So, with all of that being said, it frustrates me that Kevin Durant, for the majority of his career, has had that narrative around him. Katie's insensitive, he's a drama queen. He's had that narrative around him, and he continues to put himself in situations where, even if that were not true, you cannot dispute it. Why If you're Kevin Durant, would you be trash talking somebody in in the private DMs like this? I understand you got offended by what Rapaport said. By all accounts and all the research I've done, Rapaport's kind of a chotch. He's not a nice person necessarily. He's a comedian. He gets under people's feathers, and then he hides behind his legal team. That's kind of the perception that I have of Rapaport. So Rapaport's not necessarily a nice guy, but if you're Kevin Durant, you have to know better. You know, you have to know better at some point that if you're going to go after somebody like this, and especially if you're going to take it as far to go after somebody's wife, that there's going to be repercussions and things are going to get exposed. Now, I'm not saying that this would have happened, this amount of times out of 10, but the fact that it did happen, and we again see that Kevin Durant is kind of insecure, because the reality is that even though it was wrong for Rapaport to kind of call Kevin Durant out on doing an interview when supposedly they're friends, he took it a little bit too personally. And if you actually read some of these direct messages that Kevin Durant and Rapaport sent back and forth, Kevin Durant was calling him out for his skin color, asking him to fight. He actually gave a location and a time to go fight Rapaport. I mean, it's childish. It's childish. And it feels like we were just kind of getting away from that narrative of Kevin Durant being kind of insecure. You know how LeBron was once upon a time viewed as being this insecure kind of drama queen type player? He made a lot of bad decisions, and LeBron will fully admit this. He made a lot of bad decisions before he went to Miami, and the way that he went to Miami, he says he kind of regrets. But LeBron James has developed into that mature man who is very respectable. He's probably the most respectable and widely liked athlete in America, I would argue. Very recognizable, mostly liked. Obviously, there were some comments on my Ibrahimovic versus LeBron video that, say otherwise, but regardless of that, you would think that Kevin Durant would have that same type of glow up where he recognized how immature he was in the past and how he should probably change how he does things. And it's just, no. Kevin Durant is fighting with people in Twitter DMs. He, again, proves to be very immature. And it's like, Kevin Durant is 32. He is a fully grown man, and he still is acting this way. And that's why I'm kind of upset with Kevin Durant. It's like, that this is the perception about you. And if you really care about your perception in the media that much, if you really care what people think about you that much, you would stop putting yourselves in a situation like this in which you could either A, get exposed for being insecure, or B, getting into fights with people and even proving furthermore that you are in fact insecure. That's what bothers me about this. Again, I think both of them are wrong. I'm not trying to choose sides here. I'm not saying Rapaport was right. I'm not saying Kevin Durant was right. I think they're both wrong in the situation. It's stupid on a couple of levels for both parties involved. It's stupid Twitter drama. It's a stupid beef. But for Kevin Durant, it means more because of the narrative that was already surrounding him. He already had the narrative of being insecure. He already had the narrative of being thin-skinned. He already wasn't a good person to deal with in the media. And all of this is doing is reinforcing what everybody already thought. And it seems like, as I said, he was just pulling away from that narrative. Kyrie was the basket case on the Nets for the longest time, and now, it's looking like it's Kevin Durant again. We were just pulling away from that, Kevin Durant is insecure kind of narrative that the media's had about Kevin Durant for the past, 5 or 6 years, and now it's just like, well, you are who you are behind closed doors, and behind closed doors, he still appears to be very sensitive, and it's sad, because I hate Kevin Durant putting himself in a position like this, because we should be talking about all the things that Kevin Durant does, all the anthropology work. But instead, after his basketball prowess, and after his fantastic athleticism, and after everybody acknowledging he's one of the best to ever play the game, what comes next? It's not his charity work. It's, Kevin Durant had a burner account on Twitter when he was defending himself. Kevin Durant doesn't do good interviews. Kevin Durant is fighting with celebrities in DMs on social media because they said he did a bad interview. I digress. Hey folks, thank you so much for listening to this segment from the Hard-Headed Sports Podcast. If you enjoyed this segment, make sure that you drop a like on the video and a comment. It helps me out a bunch. And if you're interested in watching more segments like this from the show after the show has been completed, you should definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're interested in listening to the entire show in its full-length entirety, you should listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. Once again, thank you so much for watching the video. My name is Nick Ryan, and I will see you all again very soon.